Hello everybody, welcome back to another video. Today I want to talk about a few updates that I made to my template. Every once in a while I like to experiment a little bit and implement some new features into my template, and today I want to run you through some of those features. Hey guys, I quickly wanted to say that my second masterclass is out now on my Gumroad. It's about 24 hours of edited footage of me making the track that you're listening to right now. So go check it out if you're interested. So you can see the template opens up. If you're familiar with my old template, a little bit different than before. I now open up with the helpers opened up instead of it closed like this. This is how it used to be. And now I give a little bit more space to the helpers because there's actually an important track in here now, which I'm using all the time. I've actually explained this device before in a video before on control delay. If you haven't seen it yet, I'm not going to explain this whole rack. But what this basically allows me to do is it allows me to map delays into these maps here, and then they will automatically turn off whenever I stop playing. I also have a control over my global off and on here. This will turn off all of the delays on my project, so if I ever need to render out a bunch of dry stems, then this is obviously an ideal way to do it. It will just remove all of the delays from all of the different stems that I have in the project, just controlled by one button. So that's very, very powerful, and it means that anytime I need a delay, I have to map it to here for the system to work, and therefore I tend to just leave my helpers open now. The second thing that I've done within the helpers is I've added a bunch of extra notes track. One of the things with the notes track is that if you make a MIDI, say here in the track, for example, and I say, I don't know, as an example, add hat here, and I now also want to write something here, then there isn't really a way to do that on one notes track. You're just going to override things, and this is kind of spaced out to the latter part, right? This no longer encompasses this whole part here. So therefore I have a few different notes tracks that I can do. For example, add snare. Now I know that I need to add a hat to this whole bunch and a snare to just here. I've also started to implement a kind of a standardized way of codifying how I want to work with these notes in the future. So for example, say that I have made a note like the add hat and I've now completed that task. What I'll do is I'll make it green. If I have listened to the track and I am not sure if I want to implement the task or not, after re-listening to it and reconsidering it, I will make it orange. And if I'm sure that I don't want to do it the way that I've written it in a note, I will make it red, like this. So there's a little bit of color coding that just helps me get a little bit more organized and kind of standardize the method that I use to indicate what I actually want to do with the notes that I make. Obviously, most of the time the notes are for future sessions, so those are for remembering ideas that I have at one point in the session but I don't have time for or don't have the creativity for, that kind of stuff. I just write it down, and then if in a later session I decide, yeah, this is good, I'll implement it. If it's not good, then I'll just show that it's not good and that I've considered it and that I don't have to reconsider it again. The next thing here is just a little tip. I often run into the problem where I'm very zoomed into my track, say for example like this, and I'm working on, I don't know, a kick drum or something. I have something selected and I just want to hear the whole track or a whole selection. What I can do now is click here, hit Ctrl L, and it will loop my whole track depending on where this point is actually set. So this is going to encompass the length of my whole track, and that way I can just quickly hit Ctrl L to immediately loop the whole track instead of just a small section. This is a tip that I got from a video from Andrew Wang, and he made a video as well talking about a few different production hacks or stuff like that he used, and I decided to implement it in my template as well. The final thing that is updated here is that there's now a song folder here. This is again for a little bit of extra organization. This way, if I want to actually import a project into a different project without importing the helpers or the routing or the length or whatever, I can import this entire folder at once and I don't have to import individual folders like I used to do before. It does mean that if I'm exploring a project, say for example this one, where it takes a little bit of time to load all of the things that are in the project, there is going to be one extra layer of folders that I need to get through and loading that it needs to do before I can get into individual sounds. But that is rarely what I use it for. I much more use it for moving whole projects and moving whole groups. So hopefully this is going to slightly fasten up my workflow in that regard. So that's the updated template. I'm not going to run through the whole template because I don't want to make another very long template video. I've done plenty of walkthroughs of the basics of my template, and I will leave a few links in the description if you're interested in other walkthroughs that I've done. If you're interested in the whole template as a whole, and if you want to download it, then I will leave it on my Patreon page. So if you become a member of my Patreon page, then you can download this template for free. But that's going to be the video for today. I hope that you enjoyed this quick little update, and I hope that I inspired you for a little bit of a rethink of your own template, maybe some features that you may be able to implement in your own template. Let me know if you did enjoy this video by leaving a like, and if you're new here and you want to see more of what I do on this channel, then make sure that you're subscribed. But that's going to be it. I hope that you enjoyed, and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye bye.